come to pass. That only they who shun the light in order to fight the darkness possess the power to defy a god.
Glorious, forgive me. I'd steer this weapon of deliverance to a worthier servant than I.
The metal for this.
We have medium weight. A couple things here. You're going to have your mana stone clusters on, those on as well, just so that we can address them when they come up. So you're going to have your mana stone clusters on, so don't worry about it. Now, this is this thing is absolutely so it's excellent damage. For now, the best thing I'm going to do is just run this thing now. So now, go through some stuff. But yes, this guy. Then as we get up ahead here, run down into this water to grab ourselves a little skull line that we can use to get some bigger. Just going to talk about locking on. Very simple. Just toggling between enemies with the right stick. You can already tell me and this hammer are going to be great friends. Once we round this. Okay, it looks like we're gonna put someone's legs too. Sure. There's clicking random things at this point. Most of them kind of looks like scars. Okay. Character name can be Thinking Cowboy. And then next. There we go. I think he looks good. He's got a great stash. Oh, we should change our name, shouldn't we? Character name can be Thinking Cowboy. And then we will name the tutorials as well, just so that we can address them when they come up. So once you are in the game, so we already have meeting point a couple things here. You're going to have your Mana Stone clusters on, so don't worry about anything else for now. This is going to be your main healing item. This thing is going to just absolutely wallop stuff. It does excellent base damage. For now, the best thing we're going to do is just run on and on this little path, that'll loose around, go through some stuff, run up and talk this guy. Then as we get up,
Lo, the latest receiver of his grace. Great potential dwells within you, doubtless, for you to be chosen thusly. And so does Aurea's wisdom guide my hand in the bestowment of this subsequent boon. Your flesh has been made sacrosanct with the mark of the Dark Crusaders. Prove yourself worthy of this gift. Seek me in the bowels of the breach. Our work is of the greatest import.
Ahead here, we're going to run down into this water to grab ourselves a little skull item that we can use to get some bigger. I'm just going to talk about locking on. Very simple. Just toggling between enemies with the right stick. You can already tell me and this hammer are going to be great friends. Once we round this corner, it wants you to try and jump over this gap, but instead, we're going to break this and fall into this gap in purpose. That is going to gain us access to a taint. These allow us to change the coloration on our 4 pieces of armor, so a little bit of fashion souls there. Round the corner, jump over it. We'll talk about the ability to dash as well as double dodge. What's important here is even a quick dash like that, we get iframes for that. So don't feel like you have to roll to avoid stuff. Just even a quick dash, if you're locked on, is going to get you iframes. This is going to be very useful as we start fighting bosses. Here's our first thrown item. This is going to be a throwing rock. I would suggest putting this, take off our catalyst, we can put it in. And the throwing rock is nice to have because anytime we want to knock something out of a tree, we can use that as opposed to using a spell catalyst, and it's only going to cost 1 ammunition. A little tutorial explaining the how ranged works. Select it, it's active, and it went down. We're going to now put on our catalyst, and that's going to bring us back to our spells. This is kind of what I was talking about. As we play through, we're going to find a couple different range stuff besides just the rock. You know, we're going to gain access to hatchets that can cause healing. We're going to gain access to grenades that can heal. And if we just tap that off, we go to all of our throwing stuff immediately, which is super, super useful. So over here, we're going to enter Umbral. And to do this, we're going to hit down on the D-pad, hold the left trigger, and then press X. Or I guess square if you're on PlayStation. For Umbral, and to do this, we're going to hit down on the D-pad, hold the left trigger, and then press X. Or I guess square if you're on PlayStation. And you can see there are 2 vines going off of this. And what we need to do is locate those vines. Worry about holding up our lance or anything that gains access to you can see there are 2 vines going off of this. What we need to do is locate those vines, and that's going to be what gains access to that door. So since we're already in the Umbra realm, we're not going to be worried about holding up our lance or anything. We're just going to go through and kill a couple of enemies real fast. This talks about our ability to fly in combat, to switch between one-handed and two-handed. This can be quite useful for a couple of different reasons. It's basically creating your own combos, if you will. Over here, we can use this to exit from Umbral, which we're going to have to do to pass ahead, so go ahead and pop that. And now we're going to go right here, and we're going to re-enter Umbral. Well, we don't have to. We could use rifting. To talk about rifting, the idea is you could just hold this out and essentially walk over a temporary Umbral bridge. Since that one broke, we need to do it again. Oh, never mind. We're just going to go on Umbral. It's so weird they even give us the tutorial. So when you drop, it's going to interrupt your land. Anyway, just go into Umbral, run across, grab this guy. And this is one of like the seals that's blocking that door. So Soul Flag with your right trigger. You can also use this as a combat technique as well. That's going to get one of the obstacles in our way. We're going to drop down and continue along. Let's talk. Jump heads. And the throwing rock is nice to have because anytime we want to knock these full, so we start fighting bosses. Here's our first thrown item. It's going to be a throwing rock. I would suggest putting this, take off our catalyst and put it in. And the throwing rock is nice to have because anytime we want to full, so we start fighting bosses. Here's our first thrown item. This is going to be a throwing rock. I would suggest putting this, take off our catalyst and put it in. And the throwing rock is nice to have because anytime we want to knock something out of a tree, we can use that as opposed to using a spell catalyst that it's only going to cost 1 ammunition. Tutorial explaining the how ranged works. So we hit Y to select it, it's active, and it went down. We're going to now put on our catalyst, and that's going to bring us back to our spells. This is kind of what I was talking about. As we play through, we're going to find a couple different range stuff besides. Just the rock, you know, we're going to gain access to actions that can cause bleed. You can see there are 2 lines worried about holding up our lance or anything. We're just going to go through and kill a couple of enemies real fast. This talks about our ability to tap Y in combat, to switch between one-handed and two-handed. This can be quite useful for a couple of different reasons. It's basically creating your own combos, if you will. Over here, we can use this to exit from Umbral, which we're going to have to do to pass ahead, so go ahead and pop that. And now we're going to go right here, and we're going to re-enter Umbral. Well, we don't have to. We could use rifting. To talk about rifting, the idea is you could just hold this out and essentially walk over a temporary Umbral bridge. Since that one broke, we need to do it again. Oh, never mind, we're just going to go on Umbral. It's so weird they even give us the tutorial. Because when you drop, it's going to interrupt your lamp. Anyway, just go into Umbral, run across, grab this guy. And this is one of like the seals that's blocking that door. So Soul Flame with your right trigger. You can also use this as a combat technique as well. That's going to get one of the obstacles in our way. We're going to drop down and continue along. It's talking about soul flaying enemies. I'm not going to waste any time soul flaying a basic enemy like this. I'm just going to kill him. Soul flay again to open the door. Siphoning will allow us to hold up our lantern and hit the bumper. Basically pop these little pustules, and we're going to get energy back from doing that. That's what will give us additional soul play charges. Talking about the wither mechanic, the idea behind wither is if we block an attack, it's going to turn into white health as long as we attack, get that health back. So it makes shields incredibly important in this game. Anytime you see a little aura on one of these things, that means it has a Sync-8 quintessence. This is going to be what increases our healing, so always keep an eye out for those. Not that it's going to matter, because I'll be telling you where they're all at. And now we're going to drop down again. This was actually supposed to be the plunge tutorial, but too busy loving my new hammer. Now the longer... Stay in Umbra. Too busy loving my new hammer tutorial, but gonna drop down again. Just keep an eye out for those. Not that it's gonna matter, because I'll be telling you where they're all at. And now we're gonna drop down again. This was actually supposed to be the plunge tutorial, but too busy loving my new hammer. Now, the longer you stay in Umbral, the more enemies that will start to appear over time. Dread, which it's talking about right now, this will gradually fill over time. The longer you're here, however, you'll also receive more vigor, which is this game's version of souls. Now, what I mean by this, if you look up in the top right now, it says times 1.10. This means that I'm getting an extra 10% vigor off any kills that I get. Eventually that modifier will go up to 1.2, all the way up to 2.0. And at that point, it'll make it all the way up to 3.0, and at that point, the gauge will lock, and there is an elite enemy who will appear that will try to kill you. and we'll probably be successful for first time going through the game and encountering that guy. So we're going to walk out here, pop this one. Play a little cutscene showing us the door is now unlocked. Yeah, use this to exit the mumble. I'm going to go ahead and pop this door open. Boss fight, we're going to see if we can't spend that. I can fix that shortly. We are just barely short, so we did pick up a skull item earlier. That should give us enough to level up. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. And for our first couple levels, I'm going to suggest you focus on endurance. If you feel you don't have enough to attack or bowl, get... I'm going to go ahead and pop this door open. Now, before we run to the boss fight, we're going to see if we can't spend and get a level here. Let's see. No one did not mean to hit bar. A good character. We are just barely short, so we did pick up a scorpion early. Mumble. Play a little cutscene showing us the door is now unblocked. Yeah, use this to exit from Mumble. Pop this door open. Now, before we run to the boss fight, we're going to see if we can't spend and get a level here. Let's see. No one did not mean to hit volume. I can fix that shortly. Upgrade character. We are going to pop this door open. Now, before we run to the boss fight, we're going to see if we can't spend and get a level here. Let's see. No, I did not mean to hit volume. I can fix that shortly. Upgrade character. We are just barely short, so we did pick up a skull item earlier. We are going to go to our inventory and pop that. That should give us enough to level up. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. And for first couple levels, I'm going to suggest you focus on vitality and endurance. If you feel you don't have enough to attack or bowl, get some more endurance, but getting our vitality up to 20 should be one of our first goals here. something that's pretty useful for us. Real fast, let me just go to multiplayer, turn that back to off. Much as I love invasions, I don't want to deal with them in the middle of playing through here. You don't want to do invasions of co-op, obviously that's how you do it. Since I'm trying to play and read notes at the same time, I will not be going through that. So this talks about blocking. Blocking in this game is actually very similar to Sekiro in the sense that if you perfectly time a block, it's going to be considered a parry. And that's going to remove some of the posture on the enemy. If you look at the middle image there, you'll notice how part of that ring is missing. That's the enemy's posture gauge. You can get through this with heavy attacks, with parry, or with kicks. Kick is actually a great way to help finish off posture. Using something like a shield will make it even easier to get the parry off as opposed to using a weapon, but you can use whatever you want. Just let this guy be on me a little bit here. I'll try and get off a heavy attack to show how much posture we get from that. You can see a pretty fair amount there, but not as much as the parry did. Now it's just low. We're just gonna kick it. There it is. We're actually doing this the hard way. We can just do this. Now, this first boss should be pretty easy to kill for you. But once the Light Reaper spawns, honestly, just let me kill you. Now, the interesting thing about this enemy is that we're going to encounter this enemy a couple times throughout the game. We're actually going to let him kill us pretty much every time we encounter him until the last. Now, you can certainly kill him before that. You can kill him even now, if you're good enough. Other things that you want to wait is there is a side quest tied to killing him at a specific time. And if we don't complete that side quest, we're going to gain access to the Dark Crusader class. So pretty much anytime Light Reaper shows up towards the end of the game, we're just going to flop on over and let him take us in. So going back down, we're actually going to humble as the business is that we want to see. You can typically tell we're seeing this art because you see a cluster of butterflies on the screen. Why are things so bad? Go! That's something on New Game Plus that there used to be a Steam mode. It's going to be one that's around the corner. There should be one right here as well. Or because you'll see a cluster of butterflies on the screen. It's going to be one that's around the corner. There should be one right here as well. Maybe that's something on New Game Plus that there used to be a Steam over here. Either way, we still had to go into Umbral. We want to run over here to make a right at the start of things. We're going to grab the flayed skin. Now this is actually going to be this is tied to that Dark Crusader quest, so just remember this location coming back here. Significantly later in the game. Oh, never mind, I scrolled my notes too far. No, that's okay. We already went Umbral, so that's fine. We can transition out of this up ahead. So Umbral parasites, these protect enemies. We're able to just use the right bumper to basically vacuum it away, and then we can kill this guy with these. Go ahead and pick up. Come on, pick it up. Why are you struggling so much to pick up loot? There we go. We'll go ahead and grab this bridge. Get the loot across the bridge for us. I hit this vestige. I'll rest on it. It's going to take us. And we're going to go ahead and talk to the Iron Wayfarer. Done up. The loot across the bridge for it. Either way, we still had to go into Umbral. We want to run on over here. So make a right at the start of things. We're going to grab the Flayed Skin. Now this is actually going to be this is tied to that Dark Crusader quest, so just remember this location. We'll be coming back here. It will be significantly later in the game. Oh, never mind, I scrolled my notes too far. No, it's okay, we already went there, so it's fine. We can transition out this. So Umbral Parasites, these protect enemies. We're able to just shoot people to basically vacuum it away. And then we can kill this guy with these. Pick up. Why he's struggling so much to pick up loot. There we go. We can go ahead and grab this bridge. Why he's struggling so much to pick up loot. There we go. We can go ahead and grab this bridge.
I always wondered if there were others. You're probably thinking that map's just a tool to be used as you see fit. Take it lightly, and you'll find it's the other way around. Mark my words.
We're going to lock down and do it again.
I don't know who you are, and I don't care. But since the deer has been marked, making you a bigger threat to the Rogar serves us both.
Go ahead, hit this vestige. We'll rest on up. That's going to take us out of Umbral. And we're going to go ahead and talk to the Iron Wayfarer.
You'll probably take it like I don't know, but since it's making you a big if you know, if
anytime you start seeing the dialogue loop, that means you've gone through all of it, and that's what we want. We're going to run up ahead here, and this is the stigma I was talking about. We're going to go ahead and re-enter Umbra. You can stand and watch these if you want. I'm just going to grab them and then proceed along. Over here to the left, we have some loot. And then right back here, there's going to be some more loot.
I've defied the rules of gods and kings.
Kill that
If
enemy.
you know any kind of freedom, you'll do the same.
Kill that enemy.
I've
Fire
defied the
salts that have
rules of
dropped.
gods and kings.
And we'll get that. We have 3 enemies up ahead here. Kind of see them. We're going to try and get... Got 1 down. Now we can round the corner. We'll let this one come in. We're going to try and get... So that enemy. Pick up the minor fire assaults that... Just going to do some more of it. Kill that enemy. Kill that enemy. Pick up the minor fire assaults that it dropped. Look at that. Up ahead here. Trying to see if I'm going to try and get got one down. Now we can round the corner. We'll let this one come after us. Did you make it into the village yet? This guy first. We're going to kill this guy. Go ahead and pick that item up. And then right back here, I'm going to open the chest. I got the Hallowed Condemnation. It's a low scaling quality sword. My health is super low, and this is exactly where I'm going to prioritize content. Okay, next thing we want to do is take out this guy from far away. So you can take 2, maybe 3 smells, depending on the class. There we go, that little shing that indicates the kill of the enemy. And then we're going to throw this rock, get that out of the tree, put our creature catalyst back on. There are a couple more enemies to kill over here, so we're going to go ahead and take them out next.
আছে কিন্তু মিস করতে পারছি না কি অবস্থা। পরে গিয়ে পারবো
That's the ammunition pouch and mana stone cluster. I think there was one more. Yes. It's this one. We're going to have to cluster. I think there was one more. Yes. It's this one. We're going to have to use our land to pull that parasite. Right. Now, there is going to be enemy who's already seen us. That is not very fun. This may be too difficult for now. In the event that you die, we're going to run straight over and get a safety spot. But if not, we're going to sit up here. We're going to blast it with our holy powers. Don't feel bad if you can't kill this guy. He's very much intended to be, harder than you fight this early. That sword can absolutely hit you up here as well, so be careful about that. Right now he's doing a little combo. We're just going to let him go through that. And we'll actually plunge and get him with a big punch attack, make things a little bit easier. That's the best way to kill that guy early. Just hit him with a plunge. Okay, take it off again. And you can, of course, use your spells to knock things out of trees like that, but in this particular case, it's more about just maintaining the mana. I don't really want to use my mana for that when I can just use a rock. Alright, so we're going to get plunges, hit through platforms, snipe the item in the tree, up the ladder. Now we are going to pull out our lamp. Then we're going to want to walk across. A couple more enemies here. We can take them out. Use our ranged abilities if you want. Oh no. Barely missed that. Pick up the skull, pick up the stick. Another skull. Oh no. Abilities if you want. Oh no. Barely missed that. Pick up the skull, pick up the stick. Another skull. Anytime you see souls, you can use your bumper to basically vacuum them on in, so keep that in mind. Let's see. Get to the platform, circle back, kill them. Alright, so we have the 3 enemies up ahead, but we're actually going to go and get our first vestige now. And if you're really struggling with the fire guy, this is exactly what I'd suggest you do. We're just going to run right up this way, run past them, and then around this corner. Up. And there we are. So now that we have a new safety spot, go ahead and upgrade. As I already mentioned, we're going to be focusing on vitality pretty much exclusively for the time being. We get really good gains up to 20 on that, so that is going to be the focal point. We're going to grab a amulet before we can, for the time being. We get really good gains up to 20 on that, so that is going to be the focal point. We're going to grab a
Okay. No.
grab it. So I can get this. Of course, watch it if you want, but you'll know that it completes because the Umbral Scourings pop up on the right side of the screen there. After that, this is actually going to drop us down to pretty much right where those enemies that we ran past are, so we can see them right here. Keep in mind, if you die while in Umbral, you do not get a second life. Dying in Umbral is just death, so definitely be careful. Go ahead and pop that heal. Ahead we have an enemy that serves for the backstab tutorial. Let's get a charged heavy attack on him and get a free backstab. Oh, nice. Oh, Manglerax. Over here, we're going to get some berries. You're going to find a lot of these throughout your playthrough, the unripe berries. But I would always suggest having at least one. And the reason for this being that there is a quest later on in the game where we're going to need to have an unripe berry. So we want to make sure that you at least keep one of those so that you have it when the time comes for the quest. Alright, so just to make things simple, we're going to go ahead and exit Umbral for just a second. Even though we're actually about to go right back into Umbral, but one of the things is exiting Umbral is going to reset that dread meter. And that's nice because we don't want Mr. Scarlet Reaper showing up on us. So we can run up and do a running heavy on this guy. Bring him out. And then we'll take care of his friend over here. Of course, you don't have to parry. Heading down here, we're going to enter the Umbral Realm. This would be, you can technically try and use your lantern, but if you get low enough to where you are underwater and drowning, you'll just drown. So anytime you need to enter into a substance, down into whether it's water or a swamp, whatever the case is, Umbral is going to be your friend. Back. Quite a few enemies are going to pop out here, but we're not terribly worried about them. So we're just going to go on up and have enough mana that we'll just grab that. Don't worry about using the stuff. You can see how I'm lining these guys up. Just backing up, trying to target the guy that's in the back if they're close enough. Just backing up all the souls. I'm going to end up calling it souls the whole game. I know it's called bigger, but I mean, I've called it souls for so long, so even in Elden Ring, I called it souls instead of runes. It just is what it is in this case. After souls for so long, backing up, trying to target the guy that's in the back if they're close enough. Just vacuuming up all the souls. I'm going to end up calling it souls the whole game. I know it's called bigger, but I mean, I've called it souls for so long, so even in Elden Ring, I called it souls instead of runes. It just is what it is in this case. I'm going to end up calling it souls the whole game. I know it's called bigger, but I mean, I've called it Souls for so long, so even in Elden Ring, I called it Souls instead of Runes. It is what it is in this case. After we get up top here, I suggest kicking this down immediately. Get a little iframes while we're interacting with it, which is nice. Kill him. And we'll exit from Umbral. While you're exiting Umbral, you also have, or to be honest, you have invulnerability frames pretty much any action you do. If you're going up a ladder, if you're exiting Umbral, any of that stuff is going to give you back. After we get up top here, I suggest kicking this down immediately. Get a little iframes while we're interacting with it, which is nice. Kill him, and we'll exit from Umbral. While you're exiting Umbral, you also have, well, to be honest, you have invulnerability frames on pretty much any action you do. If you are going up a ladder, if you're exiting Umbral, any of that stuff is going to give you access to invulnerability frames. So you can see right there, I went for the parry, but I was unable to get it. Because shields actually have small shields, then medium, then large. They have gradually decreasing parry windows. So using a small shield to get parries is super useful. But even then, if we were to just block the attack and then follow up, we're still just going to get the wither. And this just loops back around. You couldn't see this path because we were in Umbral, but there's the little tree. And over here, there was that Umbral ladder that we climbed on up. But head on up this ladder, grab this nice little loot here, and then we will drop on down, and there is the Iron Wayfarer again.
You carry the lamp if you don't make use of it.
So he gives us access to a Vestige Seedling. Now, the Vestige Seedlings are pretty interesting. You can think of this as like a temporary
routines. Over and over. If you don't want to keep retreading the same ground yourself should you fall, make use of this. I've given you more Umbral guidance than I ever had. From now on, find your own way and stay out of mine.
Vestige or Vestige bonfire. Your lantern will flash when you're in an area that can use one. These are single use, and you can only have one of them up at a time. Now what I mean by this is if we were to interact with this vestige and go to warp, any true vestige we found we can freely warp to. But in terms of warping to a seedling, we can only come back to the last seedling that was planted. So keep that in mind. You can purchase these infinitely. They cost 2,500 off the top of my head. You can only carry 5 at a time on you. But the Vestige Seedlings, they're super useful for allowing you to progress through the game and basically create your own checkpoints, which is a pretty cool mechanic. So we're going to level more vitality in the Seedlings. They're super useful. You can purchase and go to Wolf. Lantern will flash when you're in an area that can use one. These are single use, and you can only have one of them up at a time. Now what I mean by this is if we were to interact with this vestige, any vestige we found, in terms of working with the seedling, we can only come back to the last seedling that was planted. So keep that in mind. You can purchase these infinitely. They cost, I believe it's 2,500 off the top of my head. You can only carry 5 at a time on you. But the Vestige Seedlings, they're super useful for allowing you to progress through the game and basically create your own checkpoints, which is a pretty cool mechanic. So we're going to level more vitality in the... I'm trying to think, do we want to cover Pieta right now? Probably not. We're already at 30 minutes, so we're going to wrap things up here for episode 1. In the next part, we are going to be clearing out a short zone up ahead, tackling the first real boss of the game. And on top of that, we will be exploring the main hub, discussing some things there, and getting started on the Pilgrim's Perch. So make sure to stay tuned. I'll catch y'all soon this week. So, welcome on back to episode 2 of the walkthrough. So continuing from here, we're going to go up ahead. There are some enemies that we're going to fight before we make our way to the first boss. Run on up these stairs. Swing right. You'll notice up ahead that a bunch of enemies are actually fighting each other. First one, so I'm going to sit here. I'm just going to let them kill someone. And it sounds attractive, but it's just like the setup to where you're not really getting a whole lot to kill them. So it's a die. See, I'm not getting back him up in a second. I'm trying to farm right here. But we do have a couple things we want to get loot-wise. First, of course, being this guy right here. Now, right over here, this door is actually very, very important. Late game, you're going to come back through here. It's super obscure, but once you get towards the end of the game, it doesn't really give you a lot of direction, basically where to go to make your way towards the final boss. That's actually going to be through this door, but the game doesn't really tell you that. So just keep this door in mind. It's a very important door. But for now, at least, we're going to enter into Umbral and pick up a bunch of goodies. Now, there's a reason for this being, is as you can see, after we entered Umbral, the lava is going to sit off. So we pick up the rusty cutter, and then there are 3 instances of fire salts that we can pick up. So we went into, you can of course also just shine your lamp and walk over and pick up these items. But the downside with that is you're going to temporarily lower your lamp to actually acquire the items. That is going to take some damage. So, that guy, get this fire salt, and there's one more here. There it is. We're going to call this guy the Fire Giant. There's some plot stuff that happens with him a little bit later, but just remember this is the Fire Giant location. Now up ahead we have the first boss, Pieta. Pieta is, in my opinion, a bit of a parry check. She has a lot of very well telegraphed moves.
Oh, holy Aureus, by your radiance grant me the strength to continue to endure these dark days, to lay bare the path to salvation for my wayward brothers and sisters, so we may walk it together and to strike down all those who would see our will defied. Even as our suffering continued, I honored my pledge of patience to the exactor. And yet you now appear before me, a stranger, bearing what was not yours to receive. A betrayal made flesh, and one I cannot brook. A poor substitute indeed.
So that you can parry pretty easily. So you take her down relatively fast. She has a couple to note. There is basically a 3-hit combo going on. She has an overhead slam she occasionally does. Not a giant fan of parrying the slam because she will usually create thorns with it. Those thorns are going to get some damage in and going the wrong way. In addition to that, she has what we'll call a wing rush, where she'll summon up clones and they go in kind of like a 1-2-3 zone type thing, like left, middle, right. So you just stand in the zone that they're not coming in. The clones can also try to attack you as well, so make sure to avoid that. She can create little thorns that are going to chase you on the ground. You can usually run away. She likes to coordinate attack and then rush towards you and try to get a grab attack on. And that can actually hurt a bit. So if you prepare here, fire starts those buttons. So honestly, this focus areas.
मजा आएगा
Just remember, in the end, you're better off alone. Maybe so. can never.
Mas aí eu faço uma questão.
Occasional hits in, blocking and getting follow-up on your wither, you should do fine. If you die, you'll then be able to summon the Iron Wayfarer, and he will, of course, assist with this fight. So, if you somehow don't take her out on the first attempt, you're certainly going to take her out on the subsequent attempt.
Holy Aureus, by your radiance, grant me the strength to continue to endure these dark days, to lay bare the path to salvation for my wayward brothers and sisters, so we may walk it together, and to strike down all those who would see our will defied. Even as our suffering continued, I honored my pledge of patience to the exactor. And yet you now appear before me, a stranger, bearing what was not yours to receive. A betrayal made flesh, and one I cannot brook.
Eita.
As our suffering continues,